Have you ever walked out of a board meeting thinking, that could have been an email? Well, you're not alone. Too many board meetings are bloated with reports, sidetracked by details, and end with very little real progress. And then we wonder why it takes months or even years to move on certain initiatives. And we can't understand why our board engagement is low. But what if your board meetings could be focused, productive, and even strategic? Nobody's going to tell you to your face that your meetings are a drag or a waste of time. So today, I'm sharing practical, proven hacks to make your meetings tighter, smarter, and more valuable for everyone in the room or the Zoom room.
Welcome to Profitable Nonprofits. I'm Bernadette Mack, and I help nonprofit leaders just like you build sustainable, thriving organizations without the burnout. If you're tired of constantly chasing donations, or you struggle with engagement, or you're wondering how to make a bigger impact, well, you're in the right place. Each week, we tackle real nonprofit challenges with practical, no-fluff strategies that you can apply right away. You're doing all the hard work, so now let's make it a little easier.
All right, let's start with the obvious. Board time is precious, and your board members are volunteers. They're giving up evenings or weekends, sometimes stepping away from their day jobs or families to support your organization. And the absolute worst thing you can do is waste their time. And it's important to realize that if you have a poorly run meeting, that comes at a pretty high cost because poorly run meetings lead to low engagement or poor attendance. Because if you're not going to have a good meeting, then people are not going to prioritize coming and showing up to your meeting. And board member attrition, you end up getting the dreaded note saying, oh, I'm unfortunately I have to resign because I need to focus on other things. That's because they don't feel like they're making a difference in your organization, and it's a waste of their time. They've found better things to put their time to. And it's also a really big missed opportunity for strategic input. If people are not coming to your board meetings, then you're not hearing from them. These people are on your board for a reason, and if you don't have the opportunity to get their strategic input on different decisions or initiatives that you're working on, that's a huge missed opportunity. If your meetings are filled with line-by-line reviews of committee reports, or every update that you have is being shared for the first time live in the meeting, it's time to redesign your process. I have some meeting hacks for you today that if you haven't heard about these or put any of them in place at your organization, they are going to blow your mind. Even if just one of these little hacks is new for you, you're going to be so happy that you tuned in today because each one has the potential to save you time, turnover, and make everyone happier to be involved. All right, our meeting design hack number 1 is to use a consent agenda. The consent agenda is one of the most powerful tools in your meeting arsenal, and yet it's shockingly underused. This hack is especially useful if you know you have important issues to cover or problems that you need to solve. So instead of setting a special separate meeting for these issues, you can move most of your regular agenda items into a consent agenda and use the bulk of your meeting time of your regular meeting to handle that special business. So you're putting everything that you normally cover onto a consent agenda. It's all taken care of with one vote, and then you can spend the bulk of your time on this serious issue that you're trying to deal with. You could also use some version of a consent agenda on a regular basis. And so here's how the consent agenda works. Routine items like previous meeting minutes, financial reports, or committee updates are all sent in advance in this consent agenda, and they appear as one action item on your meeting agenda. They're bundled together into just a single vote. So all the directors receive this in advance and they can review it and also request any items to be removed. Like if there's something that someone feels strongly that there needs to be discussion about, it could be removed from the consent agenda. But everyone has the opportunity to review it in advance. And then when they come to the meeting, they're just voting on all of the items in that consent agenda at once. And if nobody has anything that needs to be removed or discussed, it's assumed that all the materials have been reviewed and that they're all ready to be approved in one vote. And voila. This single shift can cut 20 or 30 minutes off of your meetings, at least. And that's time that you can spend on what really matters: strategy, governance, and decision making. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about meeting hack number 2. All right, meeting design hack number 2. Kill the live committee reports. I know that sounds a little aggressive, but it's true. Committee reports should never be a live reading exercise. Going around the room, hearing about what each committee did since the last meeting is sucking the life out of your meetings. Sure, there's going to be times when some things might need to be highlighted or maybe even applauded, but generally, you should make this your rule: that all reports must be submitted in writing ahead of time. A great rule of thumb for this is 7 to 10 days before the meeting. So you have all of your committees hand in their reports. They don't have to be long. They can be a short paragraph, but a report of what they've done on their committee since the last meeting, sent 7 to 10 days in advance of the next meeting, so that you or someone on your team has time to collect the reports and put them neatly into one succinct document. And if there's no action required for those little reports, then it could even go into a consent agenda. If a decision or a discussion is needed, then the report needs to say that. And you should also send any background information that's going to be important to the decision or the vote. Also, when I'm sending out a board packet for everyone to review, I like to quickly bullet the items that are going to require votes in the body of the email, because if they never actually open up the board packet and read it, which, let's face it, that happens, they can at least see right there at a glance in the body of the email, these are the things that we're going to be voting on, so that they can be mentally prepared to discuss that and make decisions on those topics. And they know, gee, I better open this and see what the details are so I can be prepared for a vote. So it's basically sending out, here's the materials for next week's board meeting. Please review the committee reports and the minutes from last meeting and whatever else is in the packet. And please note that the following items will require a vote. And then you just list them out, A, B, C. Please come prepared for discussion and voting. And if you have any questions about these topics, please reach out before the meeting, or, something to that effect. It's a simple email that sets them up with all the information they need so they can come and you can get all of those things taken care of right off the bat, not going around listening to long-winded people talk about what happened, this and that in their committee since the last time. Now, if directors can't or they won't read the reports that you send in advance, that's a culture issue, not a reporting problem. And it doesn't mean you go back to reporting live because you want to make sure everybody hears what the committee reports are. No, that means that people on your board need to have proper training to understand the expectations of board service at your organization. Setting the right expectations is everything when it comes to preparing people to have success on your board and feel like they're making a meaningful contribution. And, that board training is an entire episode for another week. So we'll talk about that another time. But the bottom line here is to stop using meeting time to read and start using it to think, plan, and lead together. Okay, so hack number 3, do the pre-work. Pre-work, pre-work, pre-work. That is the answer here. Before any major vote or even any strategic discussion, you want to share background information in advance. Don't hand people important information and expect them to be able to digest it on the spot and be ready for a discussion or a vote. I can guarantee that that's going to get the entire topic tabled or postponed to the next meeting. This is why nonprofits have this reputation of moving slowly. So you can prevent some of that by being proactive and sharing background information before big topics come up. And as much as you can, try to get an informal consensus or some feedback through email or in one-on-one conversations. You don't want the meeting to be the first time that a board director has heard of some important issue. People need time to process, and you want to be able to tackle objections or even just know how to frame the discussion by getting a sense for how people are thinking and feeling before they sit down to vote. This is especially important for complicated or sensitive issues. Prepping your board in advance means that they're going to show up with context and confidence. And that leads to more productive conversation and better decisions. And here's the point in the show that I just like to level with you. There are times when certain topics require you as a staff or as a board president to have some allies in your corner. So laying the groundwork and identifying people who will support your point of view can be very helpful. Many board members, especially on large boards, do not know or they just don't fully understand what it takes to run the day-to-day in your office. So it's good to have people that you trust advocating for you when those types of issues or decisions come up. I'll close this hack by saying, no one comes 100% prepared every time to a board meeting. But if you make it easy for them to be prepared and you keep reminding them why it matters, you'll build a new norm in your organization. So maybe you're thinking, what do I do with all the time I'm saving in my board meetings? Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll tell you what you should do with all that extra time. Stay with me. Hey, nonprofit leaders. Still thinking email is just for sending announcements or asking for donations? Think again. Your inbox strategy could be the key to unlocking donor engagement, campaign success, and year-over-year growth. And I've got just the thing to help you get it right. My on-demand training, How Email Will Shape the Success of Your Next Campaign, breaks down what's working in email today, what to stop doing immediately, and how to build email habits that actually convert. Whether you're just getting started or you're ready to revamp your entire approach, this session is packed with insights that you can put to use right away. Watch the training now at BernadetteMac.com under Resources and give your next campaign the inbox glow up it deserves. All right, you've heard 3 critical hacks that help you and your board save more time and get more done. So if you're wondering now, well, if we cut all this fluff, what do we do with the meeting? Here's your answer. Use the time for strategic conversation. Brainstorm some new funding streams, talk through mission alignment or growth opportunities, review your KPIs, ask your board to weigh in on a challenge that you're facing. High-level, meaningful discussions are what keep board members engaged. If they leave every meeting feeling like their insights mattered, you'll see participation and satisfaction go up. Okay, so what if in your organization, the board president runs the meeting? If your board chair runs the meeting, as they often do, it's your job as staff leadership to equip them to run it well. And here's how you're going to do that. Meet with them in advance to align on goals and flow. And this can be very brief, but don't skip it. Make sure that you're both aware of what the objectives are and who will talk about what, or if there are any sticky subjects or circumstances that everyone needs to be aware of. You can share talking points, agenda structure, and notes, and help them understand what's strategic versus what can be handled offline. Just 10 minutes of reviewing the agenda together can help the meeting run more smoothly, make it feel more professional, and show that you work together seamlessly. Every board chair brings their own style, and that's awesome. But your organization should set the standard for how business is conducted, because while board members rotate and they come and go, your staff leadership provides consistency and continuity through each new slate. All right, so if your meetings feel like a waste of time, your board members are going to stop showing up or stop caring. But if they feel like their time is being used wisely and that they're making real contributions and that strategy is always on the table, you'll get the engagement, the commitment, and the support that your organization needs. A little structure, a little pre-work, and a lot more focus will change things for the better. So this week, I want you to try one of those hacks in your next board meeting, whether it's introducing the consent agenda, sharing discussion questions ahead of time or reports, or just cutting down on the fluff in general. Let me know what you tried and how it goes. Leave me a voicemail at.
Thanks for tuning in to Profitable Nonprofits. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new one. Also, consider providing a 5-star rating and help more nonprofit leaders find the show. For more resources and strategies to grow your nonprofit, visit BernadetteMac.com. And if you have a question or a topic you'd love me to cover, send me a message or leave me a voicemail at 914-297-7692. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep up the good work. And remember, running a nonprofit is tough, but you're tougher.